Greetings everyone! Welcome back to Miss Recaps. Today I will be talking about a Japanese kaiju film called Gamera the Brave, released in the year 2006. Spoilers ahead, stay safe and enjoy! In 1973, the population of Japan is struck with fear as a result of a devastating attack. At the time, all of the civilians are fleeing the burning buildings. A young boy named Kusuke stands in the distance and watches in disbelief as enormous monsters known as kaijus engage in battle. At the same time that a massive fireball strikes one of the flying creatures, causing it to crash to the ground. A gigantic turtle that is known as Gamera is making its way towards the battleground. The enemy continues to fire its weapon from above as all of a sudden, a powerful laser beam lands on the massive kaiju, causing it to scream in agony, and the enemy continues to fire its weapon. As a result of the vicious attack, Gamera is knocked to the ground, and all of the flying monsters swoop down to finish the job by attempting to tear the enormous kaiju apart into smaller pieces. The enormous turtle is once again able to stand on its own, but its foes keep launching furious attacks, which compels the creature to gather all of its remaining strength in preparation for the onslaught. Gamera starts to glow like the sun, which eventually leads to a massive explosion that wipes out all of the adversaries and the kaiju as well. Many years have passed since then, and Kusuke is now an adult with a son by the name of Toru. He is bringing his only child with him to pay respects at the grave of his late wife. The boy's father has told him that his mother is in heaven at this time, but Toru doesn't believe that such a place exists and thinks that his mother's grave contains nothing but a pile of bones instead. The following day, while Toru was on his way to school for his swimming class, he noticed a spark of light coming from the island that was located across the water. This light continued to shine as if it was trying to communicate with Toru. The young man makes the decision to skip school and set off in the direction of the light. He swims across the water and eventually reaches the area below the island. He makes his way up onto the rocks and moves cautiously in the direction of the glowing object, which he discovers to be a large egg that is sitting atop a glowing stone. Toru examines the items with an air of inquisitiveness, and much to his astonishment, the egg begins to break open, revealing what seems to be a small turtle. The young boy offers assistance to the mysterious animal and forms an instant friendship with it. Over time, he recognizes a distinctive pattern on the creature's underbelly. Toru takes the turtle home with him and decides to call it Toto. What Toru didn't anticipate, however, was how quickly the animal would mature after only a single day. It is morning, and his father is coming to clean his room. He makes an effort to conceal the animal from his father, but is shocked to see that the turtle is somehow flying in the air. Toru manages to catch the animal just in the nick of time after it flies away in fear as a result of the boy's neighbor, Mai, who also witnesses the incident and screams in shock. He doesn't waste any time and immediately tells the girl to be quiet, which allows them to keep it a secret from the father, who runs away confused. After that, Toru demonstrates the animal to his friend Mai, who is astounded to see the turtle flying through the air as if it were equipped with its very own jet pack. The main character makes the decision to tell all of his closest friends about the flying turtle, and the other boys are stunned when they see it, which prompts them to want to make friends with the animal right away. Mai, on the other hand, is not of the same mind as the children, as she believes that the children's carelessness could put Toto in harm's way. She provides Toru with a report on Gamera, in which she reveals that the flying ability of the kaiju is one of the many ways in which it is similar to the boy's pet, Gamera. Mai advises him to set the creature free, but the boy refuses to believe that the creature he once kept as a pet is capable of growing into a gigantic monster. This is quickly disproved as Toto develops at an exponential rate in a short period of time, becoming such a large turtle that the boy can no longer hide him at home. Toru is left with no other choice, so he makes the executive decision to bring the beast along with him and his friends and hide it within their covert enclave. The young men are taken aback by the creature's extraordinary attractiveness, but it seems that Mai is the only one who is curious about the animal's background. After leaving their hiding place, she makes an attempt to warn Toru about the threat posed by the creature, But the boy refuses to believe that Toto is Gamera because he does not want his pet to perish like Gamera did in the past. The young lady comes so close to shedding a tear as she explains to Toru that she may not be able to look after him in the future. Immediately after she finishes her explanation, she runs off, leaving the boy in a state of complete bewilderment. The following day, when the main character observes Mai on her way to school and hears her parents express concern about her health, he quickly learns the truth about what happened the day before. It has come to our attention that the young woman needs to go in for heart surgery very soon, and the results are likely to be fatal if anything goes wrong during the procedure. As Toru watches Mai's family, he can't help but reflect on the fact that his own mother has passed away, and he eventually comes to the conclusion that he really misses having her around. He takes the red stone that was included with Toto and makes the decision to give it to the girl in the hope that it will shield her during the operation and ensure that she will survive it. Mai expresses her gratitude to Toru for the amount of concern that she has shown for her and makes a promise to return the stone as soon as she is feeling better. However, the young woman can't shake the feeling that something very unfortunate is about to occur. The following day, Toru travels to his covert stomping ground, where he is astounded to discover that Toto has vanished from the structure. It does not matter how thoroughly he and his friends look for the animal, they are unable to find it despite their best efforts. He searches for the animal alongside his friends. The fact that they are unaware of the impending threat does not change the fact that a single man is currently struggling to stay alive in the ocean after the destruction of his ship. Almost immediately, he realizes that something is wrong when he sees objects moving closer and closer to the surface. This prompts the man to make a hasty escape by swimming, but he is quickly dragged into the water, leaving nothing but a trail of blood in his wake. The Navy is informed of this while they are searching for the individuals who have gone missing, but they quickly become aware of the terrifying reality of the situation. As the people in the city flee in a frantic attempt to save their lives, the citywide sirens are activated. Toru is able to see the damage that has been done to the city from a distance. As they make their way down the stairs, Kusuk is able to locate them at the last possible moment and makes an effort to steer them away from harm. Everyone starts running in their direction, including one of Toru's friends who trips over something in the confusion and falls to the ground. They rush forwards to assist the boy, but are quickly knocked away by a massive concrete that was thrown by a terrifying kaiju named Zedus, who towers over all of the civilians in the area. The beast moves closer to the group of people, and then begins to open its enormous mouth, in preparation for a sushi bar-style massacre of all the people who have been thrown to the ground. Thankfully, Toru is the one who notices that his friend is still breathing, and the father instructs the boys to wait here while he approaches the child in a cautious manner. Kusuk is able to protect himself and the boy by carrying them both on his shoulders as the kaiju charges directly at them. However, it is quickly stopped by another creature. The fact that the man is still alive comes as a complete surprise to him, especially when he turns around and sees a massive turtle right behind him that is yelling angrily at the aggressor. Almost immediately, Kusuk has the epiphany that the beast is in fact Gamera, who has come to help the people by releasing them from their confinement and allowing them to flee. Zedus lets out a ferocious roar directed at the turtle, but the kaiju rushes forward and bites the adversary right on the leg, causing the creature to scream in agony as a result of the pain. The lizard monster repeatedly knocks the turtle to the ground in an effort to shake off the competition, and it ultimately succeeds in doing so, tossing the creature across the playing field and causing it to collide with a structure. Toru recognizes the mark on the creature's body, proving that the turtle is actually his pet Toto, who is obviously the reincarnation of Gamera. Fortunately, the kaiju is able to recover quickly and gets back onto its feet. In the meantime, Gamera is being driven backwards into a corner by the enormous lizard, and the young boy rushes toward the battleground to offer assistance to the creature. Gamera is not going to give up so easily, so Zedus continues to roar angrily and slam the kaiju with its tail. This knocks the turtle into the air and pushes it backward onto a bridge, but Gamera continues to fight back. As the foe draws nearer to the turtle, it readies itself to deliver the killing blow and starts climbing up the structure. The lizard spits out its enormous tongue, wounding Gamera in the process. As a result, Gamera is forced to avoid the relentless attacks, which are responsible for the destruction of the entire bridge. At the very last second, the kaiju is able to seize hold of the creature's tongue and launch a fireball at the face of the adversary. This causes Zedus to immediately fall to the ground and then crash into the water below. Toru rushes over to his friend, but he is quickly stopped by the military, which begins sealing off the entire area. Despite the fact that Gamera emerges victorious from this conflict, it is obvious that the battle has left it severely injured. The soldiers charge towards the enormous turtle and immediately encircle the creature, while Gamera is unable to move more than a few steps at a time. The military will soon be able to tie the creature down and load it onto a truck, at which point they will drive away with Gamera in plain view of everyone. As soon as Toru notices this, he makes a beeline for his friend while keeping an eye on the creature that appears to be unconscious. The young boy continues to run alongside the truck while calling out Gamera's name, but the kaiju can only respond by momentarily opening its eyes before being taken away by the humans. Meanwhile, the boy continues to call out Gamera's name. When Toru and his father entered the shelter, Toru questioned the other individual there about the authenticity of Gamera's story. Kusuke explains that it is likely that Toto is the reincarnation of a kaiju that passed away a long time ago. After making the ultimate sacrifice for the sake of humanity, he cautions Toru not to become attached to the creature because it will fight other monsters until it dies. But the boy is adamant that he will not let this be his friend's end. At the same time, Gamera is brought into a laboratory, where scientists are working frantically to restore the creature. They have realized that Gamera may be the only hope against the lizard monster, and they want to bring it back to full health. They are able to find a number of red stones from within the ocean, leading them to the conclusion that Gamera's abilities must be connected to the artifacts, seeing as how they are the ones that implant the elements into the creature. On the other hand, Toru has just received a phone call from Mai's parents, who have informed him that their daughter has been speaking in a strange language while she is sleeping ever since the operation. It would appear that Mai has established a psychic connection with the kaiju and is aware that in order for it to recover completely, it requires the glowing stone. Toru, upon coming to the conclusion that Gamera requires assistance, chooses to accompany his friends on their mission to retrieve the item from Mai so that they can revive the power of the gigantic turtle. When Kusuke finally wakes up later that morning, the last thing he sees is the farewell letter that his son wrote to him. This compels him to go in search of his son right away. In the meantime, the scientist keeps attempting to heal the enormous beast, but he is perplexed as to why their treatments are not producing any positive results. Unexpectedly, the kaiju starts opening its eyes as it detects the presence of Zedus, who is moving across the water in the direction of the population center. The news informs the doctors that the lizard kaiju is heading straight for their building, but it is abundantly clear that Gamera is not prepared for battle at this time. Everyone in the building is knocked to the ground when the walls of the building are suddenly shattered into pieces by a massive tail. As soon as it becomes aware that Zedus has arrived to conclude the earlier conflict, the structure as a whole starts falling apart and heading in the direction of the turtle. As the lizard monster continues to destroy the laboratory by using its tail and throwing the concrete onto the civilians, the people try to evacuate the buildings as quickly as possible. Toru has also made it into the city, but as soon as he sees the news, he realizes that the monster is assaulting the entirety of the surrounding area. The moment the boy realizes that retrieving the stone is the only way to save the people, he makes a beeline for the medical facility that belongs to Mai. What he does not realize is that all of the patients are being evacuated away from the building, including Mai, who is being taken away by her parents as the red stone begins to glow in brightness. At the same time, the doctors are able to survive the attack on the laboratory, and at the same time, they observe Gamera emerging from the concrete as it appears to be significantly larger than it was before. The kaiju gives a ferocious roar in the direction of the enormous lizard, All the while the adversary continues to spread fear among the population by destroying the city and forcing the people to flee for their lives. Gamera, who is here to save the people, quickly knocks Zedus over and saves the humans from being devoured by Zedus. Gamera is here to save the people. The foe roars in rage as it begins to push the enormous turtle backwards, and it quickly gains the upper hand as it knocks Gamera onto the ground directly in front of the protagonist. The young boy yells out the name of his companion, which provides the creature with the boost of confidence it needs to keep fighting, despite the fact that it is being repeatedly knocked around by the adversary. Toru comes to the conclusion that they do not have a lot of time left, and he immediately starts running in the direction of the hospital. He eventually makes it into the subway station, where he and the others continue making their way against the crowds. The boys are able to enter the hospital building, and they make a beeline for the upper floors, where they expect to find Mai, but all they find are empty beds and no sign of her. Surprisingly, Toru also runs into his father at this point, and the adult tries to protect the child from further harm by advising him to forget about the kaiju. Toru, however, refuses to listen to his father. The main character, on the other hand, refuses to give up because he doesn't want to see Gamera perish in the same way that its ancestor did, and he starts running towards the monster once more. Before going after his son, Kusuk instructs the other boys to hurry and check in at the refugee camp so that he can pursue his own son. During this time, Mai is recuperating in a makeshift hospital as she watches the kaijus battle it out in the distance, but she is powerless to intervene or help in any way. She makes an effort to get out of bed and walk towards Gamera, but her parents quickly prevent her from doing so. They don't appear to understand their daughter's reasons for wanting to see Gamera. At the precise moment when it appears that nothing can be done, Mai spots another girl who appears to comprehend what it was that she was attempting to do, and she makes a promise to bring the stone towards the enormous creature. The young woman dashes away from the building as she starts running in the direction of the battleground for the kaijus, and competing with the other people who are fleeing the area. The battle between the two monsters continues while Gamera is being controlled by the antagonist, and is being impaled by the lizard's tongue, which causes the turtle to scream in agony. Gamera is being repeatedly attacked by the gigantic monster with its tail, but the kaiju has no intention of giving up no matter how bad things get. After some time, Zedus is successful in knocking the turtle to the ground, and he then continues to slam the creature without showing any mercy. This gives Gamera the opportunity to fight back, and it does so by biting the opponent and refusing to let go of its grip, which causes the lizard to scream out in excruciating pain. On the other hand, Zedus starts dragging the kaiju across the street as it slowly climbs onto a building and lifts Gamera into the air at the same time. Suddenly, the creature lands on the ground and uses its tail to launch the giant turtle in the direction of the skyscraper, which ultimately results in the kaiju colliding with the building. Toru realizes that his friend is in danger and yells for Gamera, but what he doesn't realize is that help is arriving very quickly in the hands of the children of humanity. The children of humanity are the ones who will save Toru's friend. The moving crowds trap the young woman who is carrying the ruby, but she is able to hand off the mission to a boy, who then resumes his forward progress. The child is eventually apprehended by a law enforcement officer who makes an attempt to save his life. But before he is taken into custody, he hands the stone to a young boy who is passing by, and that boy gladly accepts the responsibility of completing the mission. As the children work together to save humanity, the red stone is passed from one child to the next until it is finally given to Toru's friends, who are then able to give it to the main character. The young boy takes the item and, as he looks up onto the building where Gamera is imprisoned, comes to the conclusion that he must do what he must in order to free Gamera. He guarantees that the kaiju will not have to perish for a second time, and surprisingly, his father has decided to assist Toru in completing the mission as the two of them run together towards the buildings. At the same time, Zedus begins climbing onto the skyscrapers in an attempt to kill Gamera for good. His goal is to do away with him once and for all. The beast eventually makes its way up to where the kaiju are and attacks the turtle by shooting its tongue at it. causing Gamera a great deal of agony in the process. Toru and his father are also able to make it onto the building, and Kusuke immediately begins working to clear the way for Toru so that he can help save the enormous turtle. The young man bolts for the stairs and makes his way swiftly upwards. He eventually enters the room where Gamera is held captive, whereupon he realizes that his close friend is in a critical condition. Toru explains to the kaiju that he brought the stone to this location so that the creature can live, as he does not want to ever again witness the passing of a loved one in front of him. Nevertheless, the enormous lizard leaps onto the building that they are in and attacks Gamera with its tail, eventually luring the monster away from the child. After noticing this, Toru hurls the stone directly into the creature's mouth as Gamera plummets to the ground, causing an enormous shockwave as a result. The young boy immediately runs towards the kaiju, but it is quickly revealed that Gamera was able to stop the fall by using its propulsions after regaining its full power. This revelation occurs before the boy even reaches the kaiju. The turtle starts to take off into the sky as it blankets the entire area in dust, and the children all look at the creature with joy on their faces because they were able to save the kaiju. Gamera begins to fly around like a spinning saucer and eventually charges towards the giant lizard. It knocks the creature away and causes it to crash onto the ground after it is knocked away by Gamera's charge. The enormous kaiju lands on the street and gets ready to finish off, but Zedus emerges from below and bites Gamera right on the neck, penetrating the turtle's body in the process. As a result, Gamera is required to replenish his energy reserves, and Toru and his father watch the conflict unfold from a nearby building. The soldiers rush towards the two, as they believe that the kaiju is about to self-destruct, and they try to convince them to leave the area. However, Toru assures them that this will not continue to occur in the future. The crowd keeps watching as Gamera is able to drive away the foe while simultaneously seizing the creature's tongue and ripping it to shreds, which causes the lizard to stagger backwards. As its glow becomes even brighter, Gamera readies itself to launch its final attack while simultaneously setting everything in its vicinity ablaze. The kaiju unleashes a massive fireball that lands directly on top of the lizard monster. This causes the creature to explode into 1,000,000 pieces, and it is left with nothing but flames as a remnant. After they finally won the battle, Gamera collapses from exhaustion and the entire military begins moving towards the creature in an effort to capture the enormous turtle. In the meantime, Gamera's foes continue their pursuit of him. However, they are quickly stopped before reaching the kaiju because Toru and his friends refuse to allow the humans to take away their savior's freedom, while simultaneously yelling at the monster to flee. This causes the humans to back off and allow Toru and his friends to continue their pursuit. As the children begin to gather in front of the military, Kusuke advises them to surrender immediately. The children are adamant that they will not allow the people to enslave their hero. After what seems like an eternity, Gamera is finally able to regain consciousness. It turns one last glance toward Toru before getting back on its feet and getting ready to take off once more. Toru weeps tears of joy as he realizes that his friend has finally broken free from captivity, and is now able to live a normal life. The other people watch in awe as the creature soars into the air and eventually vanishes into the far distance. That was all from the video. I hope you liked it. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, so you can watch more videos like this. Thank you for watching.